Uh, this is like a vehicle, right? This is like your car. Consciousness is dwelling in it. And at first it's low vibrational because of all the beliefs and the things that have gone on. And that's why we have to consciously reprogram the vehicle, right? So it takes on a higher caliber. It can hold more light in the body. And as you hold more light in your body, you're able to transmit that so effortlessly. And that's how we create a new society and a new Gaia, a new Earth. The new human, the new Earth. Okay. Now, as we enter the heart space, which is just bringing your awareness and your focus here and actually having the clear intention of opening up to love, opening up to gratitude instead of competition, hatred, or victimization. That's how we reconfigure our avatar into love, into light, into unity, because the heart space really is a unified field. It's a portal into those higher states of consciousness. And wherever you place your focus is where you place consciousness. So when we learn to keep the awareness inside and rooted in the heart, which this is like a throne, you're going to have some very beautiful experiences because you're the projector of your experience. You're the creator of your experience. As within, so without. So we open the heart space with a clear intention and practice. It really is a muscle we build with practice and consistency and devotion.
To a Broaderlands podcast.
The opinions expressed on Broaderlands podcasts are those of the guest speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host or Broaderlands podcast.
Anna, welcome to Broaderlands podcast. What an honor to have you on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you've been on my radar for quite some time when I started my podcast, and I love listening to your videos. We'll put your link and stuff at the end of this video when I upload the video, because you have a great YouTube channel. And yeah, it's powerful. You have a lot of really empowering messages that you put out all the time and helping us remember who we really are.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Before we get started, maybe you could share a little bit about yourself and the work that you do.
Right. So I'm a teacher of presence. I'm a teacher of free will and empowerment. I help you awaken to your true nature, which is beyond form. So it's kind of quasi, it's both. I teach about, the nothingness, the emptiness, the formless aspect of consciousness, but I also talk about form and how we can transform form with our mind, with our focus, with our awareness. So you could just say I'm a teacher of love and growth, really, if we want to put it in a cute nutshell.
Yeah, appreciate that. I love you. You have a great sense of humor. Even through email, I could tell you had a great sense of humor.
Thank you.
I'm the same way. I don't really take myself too serious, and I'm a little too goofy at times. But I'm very playful and very joking, and et cetera, et cetera. So I appreciate that. And speaking of that, I've heard you share that seriousness is a disease.
Yeah,
I'd love for you to elaborate on that briefly.
Well, yeah, it's just what we're taught. We're taught life's scary, it's hard. It's just what it is. And so we develop that mindset from our parents and our cultures, and then we take on this culture of seriousness. Now, obviously, there's many collectives that are not serious. That's what I'm inviting beings into. There's different paradigms of consciousness and ways of being, but we can break through our ancestral lineage. We can break through the cultural brainwashing of it has to be hard, it has to be serious. Yeah.
Maybe to get started, we could share a little bit about your upbringing, your background, and your soul journey to this point.
Yeah. Well, I started having awakenings when I was around 7. And my childhood was filled with paranormal experiences. So you could say I came in to speak about this. I came in to be part of the shift in consciousness and awakening. So I don't like to talk too much about like my childhood or past because it's not very interesting. I'm really a teacher of the present moment and getting right here and now. But just like everyone else, there was suffering, there was conditioning. I was raised Catholic. But I came in already a little awake, so to speak. I didn't trust authority. I didn't want to be in a school system. Basically, I didn't want to kneel to any kind of system. So I was kind of rebellious as a kid, but that was just innate. And it was because part of my dharma is here to be part of the shift in consciousness and awakening. So yeah, there was weird things that happened, yeah.
What type of paranormal experiences did you have, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, sure. So, like, my doors would open and close, my objects would move across my room. There was clear audience and clairvoyance. There was also an experience of the men in black visiting my home as a child, their vehicles. I didn't actually see their like bodies or anything, but just weird galactic experience or just what you would call like spooky experiences. Yeah. But I was raised Catholic, so I always associated it to some kind of, you know, weird thing like demons or whatever, right? But it was just consciousness. Really, it was me waking myself up as a child, in essence, because there's only us here. There's only the one being here talking to itself. So I really programmed, you could say, the matrix in a way so that I could default wake up and get on with my mission or what I'm here to really be and do. Yeah.
You said the men in black showed up to your house.
Yeah, those vehicles. It was like 1950s style, like those black. I don't know the name of the cars, but it's like my brother at one time had this like big paranormal book of like different things from UFOs to ghosts to whatever. But they had these shots of like the old school Men in Black cars in there, and I saw this after the experience happened. I'm like, that's what I saw. Like that's what I saw. These vintage retro black cars, very sleek, very sexy, very like mysterious looking. And I grew up in a cow town, so you don't see that stuff. And what was weird was seeing those two vehicles parked outside of my house was right after they parked, flashing lights went off in the night sky. Not lightning. There was no storms, no clouds. It was like a strobe light flash in the night sky. And I saw it as a child. And as soon as those strobe lights basically stopped flashing in the sky, those two black cars drove off and it was over. But that, in hindsight, led up to like these awakenings of galactic consciousness, these ideas like star seeds and these different planetary consciousness. Also kind of paralleled the work of Dolores Cannon, if you've heard of her. So it was all part of the awakening. It really was. So it's not scary or anything like that. It was to help wake me up out of the 3D, out of the culture, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
So how do you look at ETs?
We are that. That's what we are. You know what I'm saying? So your consciousness, we're appearing as a human right now, but we've also been grays. We've been all different kinds of, from Syrians to Palladians, whatever it is, like we've been it because we're the all pervading consciousness. So it's only weird when you're asleep as a human. You're like, oh, they're out there. No, full disclosure is it's right here, baby. It's your genetics. You are a hybrid.
How do you look at our origins versus what the Bible says?
Oh, well, I mean, the Bible's true of the origins. We're the I am presence, but we appear as all these different states of consciousness, dimensions, blades of grass, grasshoppers, to, what we call an alien outside of us. But it's not really outside of us. It's the one consciousness playing with itself in these different formations. It really is just one being playing with itself.
Kind of like in the Gita, it talks about I am the self in all beings.
Absolutely. So that's why I love the ancient texts. You know, New Age has a lot of truth to it, but we get way too lost in the galactic and the aliens, not realizing like, we're that right now. We don't need to go to the Palladians or the Syrians. Like, we are that right now. Let's awaken to that here and re-educate humanity. Because that's the point. Bring the human species to a higher state of consciousness, so we don't feel like we're separate from everything and all of that, right? Yeah.
Is there a difference for you of the meaning awakening versus self-realization?
No, they're the same thing. Yeah.
And you started to have these awakenings at 7 years old?
Yeah. Yeah.
What type of awakenings were you having, if you don't mind me asking?
It was the paranormal experiences. So just like those, the doors opening and closing, the Men in Black experience, but also the pivotal one to show me that I was formless awareness or the light of presence or the light of consciousness was when I was like 7 or 8. I had this intense urge while laying in bed one night to repeat my name like a mantra. So I repeated the name Anna over and over again until it broke down, and I didn't even know who Anna was. I didn't even know what that word meant, because technically nothing has any meaning. We give it the meaning as consciousness. So that word broke down and there was no mind. It was just the light of awareness, just presence with no thinking. And that was a Satori moment for me. But it was very natural. It was very simple. It was what we are. Yeah.
Doesn't mantra mean mind? Man means mind and tra means release?
Sure, yeah, you could say that, but I don't actually know the breakdown of it. But I was repeating it, like they teach you when you're meditating, which there's power in those things, but I used it until it just broke down. I didn't know what it meant. Who's Anna? What's Anna? Yeah. And you can't go back from something like that. So after that, that initiated a whole path of investigation and also suffering, right? Which that's just part of the Dharma. That's part of the path. But I investigated what that experience was, and it's led me to where I am today, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. Why do you think we forget? It seems like we just like, it's like there's some kind of cosmic game that we just forget our true essence of who we really are. I remember being as a young boy, kind of remembering certain lives. In my 3D language, I would call it reincarnation. But I remember living at certain environments at one time in a different life.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe you. Totally. All those lives are happening now, though. That's the cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All happening right now. Yeah.
Why do you think
so your question, though, why do we forget? We descend in consciousness. So the I am the all-pervading absolute knower. But when you descend in vibration or you descend in consciousness, you obviously forget. That's the point. Yeah. You come down, you fall from grace. Oh, everything feels so thick and like stuck and linear and like I can't manifest instantly and I don't feel floaty anymore and like this body feels like lead. That's because you descended in consciousness. But that was on purpose. Like you did it on purpose so that you could show yourself that you're God. So God descended to man so man could realize he was God. And then ascend out of the pit, so to speak. Like really show yourself you're the magician. Really show yourself you are the creator. That's the point.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I love you. I love this. Yeah.
I love you too. Namaste. How would you define the matrix?
That's this. The matrix is your thoughts and your feelings. They create a grid system. That's why whenever you step out of mind or out of imagination, memory, or deep emotional patterns, you realize, oh, I'm creating this. I'm projecting this. So you're projecting the matrix. You're creating the grid points with your thoughts and emotions.
And there's many layers of that subconscious programming and mental conditioning.
Yeah, it can be that way. Yeah, it can seem to be thick, but we see through it with our light and we transform it. Yeah.
Non-duality. When did you start experiencing oneness?
That Satori moment as a child would be the first glimpse into the true nature.
I love how you said glimpse.
Yeah. It was like a little, ooh, a little peekaboo. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see a difference between spirituality and religion? Or is it pretty much the same?
Oh, no, it's not the same. Sorry. But religion is boxy. Religion is you do this or you're going to hell and you're going to burn. You know what I'm saying? Like there is a rule, there is a box, and there's an in group and an out group. And now we can say that can happen also in spirituality. Within the New Age, we got in groups and out groups. We got hierarchy. So we got to be careful with this because with the New Age and the Awakening, if you're not fully clear, we can just create new boxes. We create new religions and we're calling it spirituality. But true spirituality is fucking free. It is the ability and malleability to be that which you want to be in any given moment. That's true freedom and that's true love. It's spontaneity. So that can mean like, okay, the winds have shifted and now I turn right. Like it's that amount of freedom. Or like this, you're doing a podcast and all of a sudden you just wake up and your heart wants to go into a different direction and you just go and you leave it. Like that's it. It's that malleability, that freedom.
You have a video that says bye-bye spiritual circus. Yeah. And I love what you have to say in that video because, I started to see stuff. I got sober in 2009, right? And I had an awakening and I went into the 12-step community. And I love the 12-step community, but you also can get trapped into a bubble there and the belief systems that something's always wrong with you. I am an alcoholic. And if I stop doing this, I might drink and the drink is to die. And then I started to see like clearly this veil, really thin veil that had a lot of power over everyone in this bubble, this groupthink, because of this belief, the power of this belief system that's keeping people on a lower frequency or vibration, stuck in the past and in the future, and they're in the present because they believe that they are that past and they believe they can be that future.
Right. The only way to truly heal or transform is to see yourself as clean. I'm healed. I'm clean, and like own it now. because your feeling is a vibration. So that's the quantum healing, right? Is understanding like you can be a shapeshifter, but you have to assume the feeling, the vibration, and the state of consciousness of that which you want to see. So that's why I love quantum physics and neuroscience, because they're really showing us how we can heal with our thoughts and our feelings through those assumptions, through those beliefs. But obviously we have to practice it, right? Just like we practice, I'm a drunk and I'm recovering. We have to practice, no, I'm healed. I'm powerful. My cells of my body are filled with light. You know what I mean? Like we talk in that kind of manner in present tense, because the Lord that we are, the God that we are, always speaks in present tense. It's not I will be, it is I am that now. And that's how we have like massive shifts. And that's how you become an alchemist and a shapeshifter, by putting it in your hands.
I love that. You know, like the big book where I got sober in the 12-step community, they call it, they talk about freedom. They promise freedom. But how can I be free if I continue to identify with I am an alcoholic? And that has a lot of power. I would love for you to share on the power of I am, whether it's can be in a fear-based or a positive, more empowering way.
Well, right. Just I am. Just so those who don't know what I am is, because it's scripture, right? I am is another name for our faceless and formless self. Right? It's the blankness that we are. No thoughts, no biography, just that pure witnessing consciousness. So if we can just say I am and tune into feeling and presence, that can detach you from your current creation. Maybe it's alcoholism, some form of addiction, depression, whatever it is, right? Saying that I am and bringing awareness aware of itself, observing the observer, that's the I am presence. That's that detached space from where we can really see, wait, there goes the thought, here I am. There was the sensation, here I am still. That changeless presence. And from there, we can initiate change with the thought, the feeling, the clear intention. I'm healed. I'm clean. I'm holy. I'm sacred. I'm powerful. I'm joyful. You name it, right? We start saying it because our word really is God.
How would you define the ego? Is that made up?
Oh, totally. I don't buy into any of that. I find it very old school and archaic. I never resonated with the word ego. And actually the first time I heard it was when I was learning about Sigmund Freud and psychology at Mizzou. And so, that guy did a lot of cocaine. We studied him. He did a lot of cocaine. And so I'm not taking anything from someone who's high on cocaine. No thanks. I'll listen to my own heart. I'll listen to the source that dwells within me, sir. And the thing with this is spiritual teachers who keep saying, oh, it's the ego. And there's big, beautiful teachers who do use this word ego. But we got to simplify this and see through that, because then we're blaming our ego for shit. And we're not taking in a responsibility and really owning up that there's only God, there's only consciousness, and that your belief that you have an ego is literally creating duality.
Love that.
So I don't ascribe to it. And there's many teachers I totally bow to and I have respect for them. But the word ego is just so old school and it creates division.
That's something I don't agree with Eckhart Tolle or A Course in Miracles. Great writings, great messages. But now the ego's like, it got you speaking Victimese one more time.
Right. There's a two-ness there. You can feel it, right? It's like, well, where is the ego? You mean the thought form? You mean that emotion, that habit? That's all we're talking about, is that habitual loop. But it's consciousness. And we are the light of consciousness. So when we come into this unified space of what I'm speaking from and to, because you're that unified space too, we just own it and we shift it, then we can just move out of this paradigm of ego. And that's the beauty of evolution and awakening, is you and I, the awakened being, can start releasing that word from our vocabulary, and we can have a collective shift. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm done with these words, ego and the constant healing and the hierarchies and the angels are out there. And it's like, no, honey, you're the angel. Let's own it right now.
I love that. You brought up, we talked about I am and how it's scripture, but I was always intrigued at how much Krishna used I am more than even Jesus.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, Krishna uses I am so many times. I've circled it. I haven't even counted it, but I've circled it over the Gita so many times.
That's awesome.
I am the self and all beings. Yeah,
Yeah,
throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna uses I am. Even in the Upanishads,
right
they
on. I love
capitalize the self as well.
nice, nice, right
Yeah.
on. Thanks for
So
bringing that up.
I love that universal consciousness that they
Yes,
tap into.
me too.
You have another video that that talks about taking back your free will. I'd love for you to touch
Yeah.
on what is free will, define free will, and who's stolen our free will if we have to take
Well,
it back.
nobody stole it. You could say when we descended in density, in
Yeah.
consciousness, it seems like we got rid of it. We lost our awareness, right? Ooh, I'm Anna. I'm Jolene. I'm Jack. I'm John, right?
Okay.
And we take on that costume, and then we see through it. Seeing through it is observing the observer. I'm aware of awareness, right? Transcending thought, seeing through thought forms. And that's how you take your free will back. It's not free will to do anything. Like I say, I'm not going to become an astronaut. I'm not going to become a pianist tomorrow. Like that's not my theme. That's not my dharma. But the free will is your freedom to choose the intention before you descended in grace.
Mm.
Okay. That means like that purpose, that joy, that inspiration, that thing that lights you up, that thread of joy. That's it. Your intuition will tell you what you're here to be and to do. And our purpose as this character rising here, the finite aspect, is to continually align with that selflessness, that true will of the heart, not the will of the unconscious society. Like, I need a lot of clothes and I need this big a house and I need to have this job and blah, blah. No, like the true will of why we're really here. Waking up, embodying love, really living your dream for your heart, not what you were brainwashed into from the culture. So free will comes back once you're aware of awareness and we've stepped out of thought. Then it's that ability to choose love, choose the joy, choose what lights you up and sets you on fire instead of, the broken, the despondency, the habitual seeking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Do you ever fall back into thought? Like we can only suffer from thought if we ourselves become the thought. And every once in a while, I'll find myself falling back into thought
I
at
had in
times.
and outs for a long time, and thoughts can still arise here, but they're not in that density neurotic stuff anymore. That stuff's been seen through. But I still choose thought. Thoughts still appear here. But you're going to notice the more conscious you are and more rooted in your heart space or love, your thoughts are going to take on a higher vibration, right? Because you're in the vibration of love, so your thoughts are going to be more loving. Or you're in the vibration of gratitude, so your thoughts are going to be more grateful or inspired. So that's why I'm a teacher too of love and of the heart chakra, because that transforms your thoughts. Thoughts are a frequency, they're a vibration. And they're just coming back to tell you, well, what you're being. So they're devotees. I see thoughts as devotees.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I know
you're
Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen master, says the more we move away from nature, the sicker we become. And I see you in a lot of your videos. You're in nature.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love Gaia. I love being outside. It's my jam. It really is. But that's what this body is too, though. It is nature. So that's part of the awakening too, is coming back into rehabilitation with Gaia and respecting the land. And respecting the land is respecting ourselves. Yeah.
I love that. A while back, I almost hit a little desert road, and I'm in Arizona, and I
Yeah.
literally turned and almost hit the curb. But because I was thinking like the old me or like some of my old friends and people in general would just run that little road and over and laugh, and then keep going. But now I'm so in
Right.
tune to life as
Right.
self. I'm a whole different reality, a different experience these days versus who I
Oh
used to
yeah.
be.
Right. Well, that's beautiful. You see yourself in the animal, right? Like you
Yeah,
can see
yeah.
yourself, right? And you don't want to hurt it or mock it. I totally get you. It's beautiful.
How do you define the term avatar? I love that term. And who is guiding the avatar or controlling the avatar?
The light of consciousness is, unless you're asleep. If you're asleep, then it's your habits, right? It's the culture, it's the matrix, the asleep matrix. But if you're awake, then it's okay. Love's going to start guiding it. That deeper intelligence is going to start guiding it, which obviously is going to go into the octave of love. But until we wake up to awareness and to our deeper power, and that we do have control and free will, then we're going to be ran by the systematic society. Money, fame, greed, victimization, competition, those base kind of survival frequencies. And that's why we wake up and we start really practicing love, opening the heart and expanding our consciousness so we can move out of that. Yeah.
I love when you talk about merging the mind with the heart. And I'd love for you to expand on that for us, the power of our awareness through the heart space.
Okay, yeah, and this touches on with the avatar, because I don't think I really hit the nail on the head with the avatar thing, but uh, this is like a vehicle, right? This is like your car. Consciousness is dwelling in it. And at first it's low vibrational because of all the beliefs and the things that have gone on. And that's why we have to consciously reprogram the vehicle, right? So it takes on a higher caliber. It can hold more light in the body. And as you hold more light in your body, you're able to transmit that so effortlessly. And that's how we create a new society and a new Gaia, a new Earth, the new human, the new Earth. Okay. Now, as we enter the heart space, which is just bringing your awareness and your focus here and actually having the clear intention of opening up to love, opening up to gratitude instead of competition, hatred, or victimization. That's how we reconfigure our avatar into love, into light, into unity, because the heart space really is a unified field. It's a portal into those higher states of consciousness. And wherever you place your focus is where you place consciousness. So when we learn to keep the awareness inside and rooted in the heart, which this is like a throne, you're going to have some very beautiful experiences because you're the projector of your experience. You're the creator of your experience. As within, so without. So we open the heart space with a clear intention and practice. It really is a muscle we build with practice and consistency and devotion.
How would you define the lower self versus the higher self? And how do we expand to a higher states of consciousness?
Well, I don't like to go into the arena of lower or higher self because I just don't like it. You know what I mean? There is only the self. Let's look at it that way. There's only the fucking self. And this is the self talking to the self right here. This is the self here. Okay, you're beautiful. There's only the self. Okay, but obviously consciousness, which you're calling the self, which is cool. I use the same verbiage too, can appear as a low vibration, high vibration, or anywhere in between. Kind of like a dimmer switch for a light. We can go down real low. I don't know who I am. I hate life. Or up really high. Fuck yeah, dude. Like, life is joyful. That should have done that. You know what I'm saying? So let's see it like that. Instead of higher or lower, there's only the self, but it can dim down. It can go up really high. And you're that, baby. This is it, baby. This is it. And that's the bliss of being, is understanding, like, you can't ever escape. So,
do you ever work with anyone that's suffering from like lots of trauma and addiction? Have you
of
ever?
Course.
And how do you get
group
them?
Sessions, totally.
You know, because like in the big book of AA, there's a saying, there's one that has all power, that one is God, may you find him now. Now, the most important words out of that sentence is power in now. But how do we retrain our mind and body to be in the present moment where life really is?
Well, also we'd have to take out the find him now. It's not a him or a her, but for the sake of gender equality, it's both and beyond. Right. But we have to know, honey, you're God, you're consciousness, you're the creator. And that's what we're at with the evolution of the human species, is like, this used to be taboo, but now we're realizing like we're the whole view. So you got to claim yourself as Christ. You got to claim yourself as the Buddha. Don't go looking for Buddha.
Yeah.
Don't wait for Buddha, honey. Start claiming yourself as it. And as you claim yourself as awake, as the Buddha, as the Christ, whatever that word is for you that gives you that symbolic and visceral feeling of grace, love, and power, use it. Claim yourself as it. Because you have to know that right now you're claiming something of yourself. You are. We are. It's law. It's a law of beingness. You're claiming something right now. So all I'm encouraging you to do is to claim the healing, claim the love, claim the gratitude. And that's how we rise above. Because if we keep claiming addiction, if we keep claiming poverty, we're going to get more of it. That's just the law of resonance. That's the law of being. So we have to learn how to feel into higher states of consciousness, which are elevated emotions. Can we drop into gratitude? Can we teach our body confidence? Yes, we can.
Yeah, that's why I said the most important words are power in now.
That's right. That's right.
Versus God or him. Because
right, and I love the word God. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love it too, but I get it. It doesn't set well with everybody. You know, I get it, but it's a powerful word.
It can also be spiritual bypassing if we just think something outside of us is going to fix us, in my opinion.
Right. No, I get it.
And I think we can fall into that as well with the Abrahamic belief systems.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's why it's like the only way for this to work is by you just really owning it. Otherwise, you're going to be owned by something else. Have you not noticed that yet? Come on, guys. Come on. So it's like we become the masters of our minds or our bodies and bodies, or something else is going to control us. You know
I
what I'm
love
saying?
that.
And this is where we start to really wake up and shift, because there's so many beings from like the old paradigm. They're like, there's no free will. I can't do anything. You know what I mean? Like the old school, like Ramana, Nisargadatta, which I love them, but they still have like this ball and chain with the past. No growth. Can't evolve because I don't have choice.
Even
You know
a
what
lot
I'm
of the
saying?
swamis, they say we
Yeah.
need a guru. I love Krishnamurti because he said you don't need a guru,
Yeah.
or we need a savior. Even in politics, we need someone to save us, or in religion, we need someone to save us. But I love what you say, and I love what the Buddha says. No one saves you but yourself. No one
That's
may, no
right.
one can. We ourselves must walk the path.
That's right. But of course, this right here, this interaction, like learning from each other, is beautiful too. So I will say,
Yeah,
listening to high vibrational beings, epic. It is a support, right? But at the end
yeah,
of the day, you got to hold your own heart. At the end of the day, you got to look in the mirror and love what you see, right? But coming into contact with this is super potent and helpful for the shifting consciousness, because we're transmitting energy, which can naturally talk to the cells of your body and help you have that awakening naturally. Because that's just love, that's just consciousness. That's vibration.
yeah. Thank you.
You're
What
welcome.
kind of advice would you give someone that's maybe being pulled back into the subconscious programming, um, or just gets caught up with the stress in life at times, and starts to develop a lot of fear and starts fogging up our window of perception? Is there something simple as just learning how to get back into that pause, or what kind of advice do you
Deep
give
breath.
people?
Take a slow, deep breath, and just remember all is well. And stay persistent and consistent with your practice of opening the heart and owning
Mm.
these vibrations. It's a practice. Just like when we go and we train and we lift. Some days are going to be epic. You're going to be like, yeah. And other days you're like, oh man, I'm a little tired. Like, I'm just not lifting as good today. Right? But it's still a practice, and you're still building and you're still growing, and you have that resilience. So it's a practice. You may have epic days and some may dwindle a little bit, but you got to understand that all of the feedback that's happening, all of the circumstances that are arising, from suffering to gifts to abundance to whatever, it's feedback for how you're talking to yourself on the inside.
Yeah. I love that.
So
I
love,
was,
love,
I
love.
yeah, I look back and looking at that bully in the mind, that small inner critic voice. I was so unaware of it for so
Yeah.
long. Yeah, it beat the shit out of me.
Get it. It's a club, right? Yeah, I get it. And then we take it in with a hug and transform it. 'Cause it is us, the saboteur, the bully. It's just a condensed part of us that was just repressed. And once we just stuck it in with love and we really love ourselves, it's like that gremlin turns into a fucking fairy. It's so cool. It's no longer
Mm.
Gollum anymore. It's no longer Gollum. It transforms into Gandalf the White. Okay. But we do that with our love and our resiliency and the understanding, like we are alchemists. We are magicians. So fear nothing, friends. Like literally fear nothing. We are the light. And even when something looks like a gremlin or dark as night, it is the light pretending. It is the light masquerading to see if you're going to trust yourself.
I love that. How do I've heard you talk about shadow work, and I love what you said about, like, man, there's a trap there's always got to be work done. Like something's
Mm.
always wrong with me. I always have to. Is that keeping us in consumerism, or
Yeah. That's what taught us consumerism, isn't it? You know what I mean? But yeah, if you think you have a shadow, you're going to find it. If you go looking for your shadow, you're going to find it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's why I say, claim your healing, claim your angelicness, claim your holiness, claim your sacredness. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what will start to be exuded from you. Of course, you're still going to have contrast, but we're not going to have the neurotic stuff, the victimization anymore. There's going to be a confidence and a dignity that comes out of you when you realize, like, you are your walls, the floor, everything. There really is no other.
And
That changes
yeah,
everything when you realize that.
yeah, I know people that's been in therapy for like 20 years, or people with 50 years of sobriety still thinking that all they have is today. They may drink again if they don't continue to do that. I think that's a false belief that we fall into.
Totally. It's just a safety thing for them. It's a habit. They created a new habit. It's a new comfort zone. It's a new safety thing. And maybe those beings evolve out of that. Maybe they don't, but you know where you are. You know what I mean? And that's where you just bless, you love, and then you just keep going. You keep rising above, and you keep being a way shower, an example for humanity. And then you can teach with your way of being. You can just teach with your presence. So maybe they see you a year later and you're just like so jubilant, so joyful, and so happy, but you're not even going to the meetings anymore. And they're like, yo, what's up, man? And then you start having that conversation, maybe tell them about the power of now. I don't know what happens, but that's how we have catalyst and awakening, just by us being the example of that joy and confidence and light. Yeah. Yeah. That's the best way to teach, is by being it. Yeah.
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 I wanted to do something with you, and I told you through email that I wanted to read a couple different quotes and share your understanding with your experience. I know human beings tend to look up to spiritual teachers and stuff, but they're just a mere reflection of who we are.
Totally.
So I would love to hear your understanding of these quotes by some guys that taught me a lot. Like Eckhart Tolle, for an example. Let me grab it. Okay, here it is. Eckhart Tolle said, "Spiritual awakening is awakening from the dream of thought." I would love for you to elaborate on that.
No, that's true. Step one is awakening from thought, transcending thought, being aware of awareness. But he doesn't have the full package. You have to come back to thought consciously. You come back to body consciously. All right? And he's just a teacher of space, though. He's really a great teacher of detachment. Okay? But that's not where it ends. We transform the avatar. We transform the body, which is transforming Gaia. And we do that by consciously choosing a thought, consciously eliciting a feeling. And that's what weaves your mind and your body, or your persona, or the character, which then weaves your world, which then weaves a collective, which then weaves a whole new earth, a whole new humanity. So step one is right. You do have to transcend your thought to realize you are the self.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alan Watts said, "God is what nobody admits to being, and everybody really is."
Yeah, that's the best one. My favorite. Love it. Yeah. Thanks, Alan.
Thich Nhat Hanh said, "The kingdom of God is available to you in the here and the now, but the question is whether you are available to the kingdom." He also said, "You don't need to die in order to enter the kingdom of heaven. In fact, you have to be truly alive in order to do so."
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. But I will say that there is a death. What death is? The concepts, right? The death is the old you, the old version of yourself, the old way of being, which naturally is a resurrection at the same time. So it's both.
Yeah, I love that. I was actually thinking that when I was writing it down. There is a death, and I always say that with near-death experiences, because I have a friend that had a transformative awakening, but was on a near-death experience channel, and people were saying that's not a near-death experience. Well, no, it's a death experience. You're right. It's a death experience. It's a spiritual death of the old false persona.
Yeah, absolutely. He was probably just talking about like physical death or something like that, right? Right.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, there's definitely an energetic death for sure. Yeah.
How do you define heaven, and how do you define hell?
Heaven is I am.
Mm.
And hell is what appears when you forget your I am.
I love that.
And that's it, baby. That's it. That's it. Let's keep it simple. Keep it sweet. Yeah.
How do you? I heard you use Christ a lot, and you also use Buddha a lot. But are you talking about the individuals or that consciousness?
That absolute consciousness. Yeah, they're ancient terms, right? Buddha, Krishna consciousness, Christ consciousness. It's for that like highest light understanding within physicality, right? But that's also your imagination. Christ would be your imagination, your feelings, your thoughts. Like it's this, it's you, right? And as you claim yourself as that, you start to exude the qualities of that.
Yeah. I love that. How would you define, or what's your understanding of what people call God?
It's us. It's everything we've talked about up to this point. It's consciousness. It's what's appearing. It's what's not appearing. It's everything. It's nothing. It's form. It's formless. And these words can't really do it justice because these are only pointers. At the end of the day, it's something you viscerally feel and know in the cells of your body. It's joy. Yeah. Because you know.
Do you think we're entering a new timeline of a new Earth and a new human? Because I've heard you share a lot about that. And could you elaborate on that if you don't mind?
Absolutely. There is a shift in consciousness going on. There's a shift on the planet, obviously. My goodness. So entering the 5D, entering the new earth is you taking conscious responsibility and opening your heart, opening your mind to love, moving away from victimization, codependency, the ridiculousness of consumerism, supporting the earth, supporting your brothers and sisters because they're you. Really just understanding the golden rule. What do I do to another, I do to myself. What do I do to myself, I'm doing to another. So that's why we choose love, those high states of consciousness, because law of karma, law of being, you really just start to get clear on that. Keep the space clear, stay open, stay loving, stay kind, stay empowered, for yourself, for all, because you are all.
Yeah, thank you. What's the number one cause of suffering?
Forgetfulness of who you are.
I love that.
Remember, hell is forgetting you're the I am. It's really believing the dream's real.
Yeah, they say that a lot in the Gnostic text too, our forgetfulness. It's our forgetfulness is the root of, I guess, what they
right.
You see that in politics today and in today's world, or religion, belief systems. It's causing us to have this collective mentality, us against them.
I don't have that, but I mean, obviously there's paradigms of existence that are doing that. My experience is not that at all. There is no politics. You create the politics. You create the politician because you don't know who you are. And this is where we can have literally, this is where I get excited. Like when you realize you don't need the government, you don't need the politicians, you don't need half the shit you think you need. we're going to have a massive global shift. Like that's a revolution of human consciousness. And that's what's going to be taking place. There's going to be a revolution when you start to realize like you are the source, you are the power. And we're just on the cusp of this. So get ready. Put your seatbelt on, people. It's going to be awesome. We're going to speed up a little bit. But yes, it's happening. And the more we step into this consciously, guys, we speed up. It speeds it up. So come on, y'all. Come on. Let's go.
Yeah, it's like I'm just watching everyone just play this little game that's creating a bunch of suffering, us against them mentality. These different collectives, and if you don't believe like me or think like me or carry the same flag or have the same skin color or start dehumanizing people, us against them mentality, it's just crazy, like this unnecessary chaos and suffering.
Right. And that's why we practice coming to the heart. That's why we practice presence, so we can step, because that's the lower realm. What you're speaking of is like the lower realm experience, and that's hell to me. Like that's hell, what you're speaking of. So that's why we take our power back. We open our hearts. And I mean, literally, like when I say when we open our hearts, it's like it's a quantum shift. You enter a new dimension because the world outside of you is not solid or real. You just think it is. But this can be like Alice in Wonderland, really. Like this could be very beautiful. And that's why I'm a teacher. I'm a way shower to show you guys there's another possibility out there. It's not linear. Time's not stagnant like you think it is. Time's not real like you think it is. And when you see through those beliefs, that's when you start to enter like quantum existence, that understanding like everything's happening now and it can get real beautiful and shift real quickly. The higher you vibrate, the quicker form can shift.
Yeah, at times I'll be in public and I'll see people in their little bubbles, invisible bubbles of belief systems, and it's creating this false separation. And just to see that and having that understanding of how that affected me at one time, it's just pretty enlightening, I guess I could say. It's just being aware of that, how it creates unnecessary suffering for myself and others. Is probably I'm just grateful to be able to be in this state versus, or is it even a state? It's just our natural being of awareness.
I get you. Yeah, you don't feel suffocated anymore. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I get you.
You showed me that Franco episode that I did with him. You thought that was me, and
so I was funny. That is so funny.
Well, this is a pretty cool experience I had maybe about a month ago, and I told Franco this in that video. and that's why I'm bringing it up. I was walking my dogs on the lake right here in Arizona, and we're on the little trail, and a couple feet away there's the lake, and there was a little girl. She was probably like 3 or 4 with her father, and her father, and she happened to turn. They were facing the lake, and she turned around and she seen us, just life in flow. Right, there was no like filters. It was just a pure state of consciousness looking at life. And the father turned around, and all of a sudden I noticed the filters in him, his conditioning. And then, and I just seen a whole different experience. So when it says to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must be like a little child. I just gave me that scripture came to life, and really looking at him, and I don't know exactly what his filters are, but I know he was looking through his filters. I seen it clear. And it was just a pretty cool experience to have. And I'm like, who else experiences that walking their dog?
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And you're right.
Yeah.
You're totally right. There's an innocence to this. There's a beautiful little sweet innocence to the self.
Yeah, appreciate that. So if people wanted to find you, like to work with you, can you kind of, what kind of work do you do for individuals?
I got private sessions, I got group sessions, and there's the Patreon community. And in February 22nd and 23rd, I'm opening my garage for 12 beings to come and open their hearts and really dive deep into this. So there's many ways. And if you want to check it out or speak with me, wonderfullynothing.com is my website.
There are words that I love, like say, in scripture, for an example, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. When you experience that and that's your reality, that scripture comes to life in a whole different way.
Versus totally. Yeah.
See God
it's gorgeous.
In all beings.
Yeah.
And I think that's
beautiful. It really is. When it's read right, it really is beautiful.
Well, what parts of religion do you agree with and disagree with?
Oh, the New Testament's a roadmap. It's all about you. So I'm a big lover and supporter of the New Testament, but you have to be able to read it with the divine eye, which lives in your heart. But you're Jesus. We all are. So that whole resurrection's about you and your consciousness. No one really got crucified. What's being crucified is your consciousness. What's being resurrected is a new consciousness. Yeah, it's all symbology for ascending to a higher state.
Do you think when we take it literally as history, that's when it creates suffering and
Of course it is. Look at our culture. We celebrate Christmas every year, and it's nonsense. There's no man who was crucified. It's all symbology, but it was written by mystics for the adept and the initiate. So that's why it's really rare. That's why the majority doesn't get it. It's for the initiate and the adept. You know what I mean? That's why it's so confused. Yeah, but there was no Jesus. He's not your savior. That's all about you. It's all about you.
I love that.
Yeah.
You're that.
Yes, you are that.
If I had to put you on a big screen and everyone tuned in to you around the world, what would you tell the world?
I love you. And you're perfect right now. And you are a gift and a blessing to creation.
Anna, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you. Thank you for everyone listening.
Thank you. I'm going to end it with a Muji quote, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Of ourself, we are the last to be aware. We cannot be aware, but you are not aware that you are aware. When you are aware that you are aware, you are free. Anna, thanks for sharing your freedom with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namastizzle.
Just know we out here. Know we out here working in a major way. Had to speak on it just to make a play. Any given subject, know we make a way. Time to level up on a day-to-day. Know we out here working for the greater good. Expand your mind, broaden your lens the way you should. From the stars to the galaxy to speak on spirituality. Higher understanding for the neighborhood.